served as a guest editor of the journal that is Differential Equation and Dynamical System. He has more than 50 research papers in his credit in the various reputed national and international journals. He has also presented more than 25 research papers in the different national and international conferences. His main research area is high performance computing, smart algorithm design, and radial basis network in the differential system area. So I would like to welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Brajesh, for the nice introduction. And first of all, good morning to all of you. And I will discuss the computational scheme for nonlinear convection diffusion model. Well, this presentation is basically I made in such a way that you can learn from the beginning and move from the one-dimensional equation basic definition of convection and diffusion to the radial basis network. So just basic definitions are used. I have used some computer programs also here that will help you out to understand how can we implement the algorithm in computer program. So the mathematical equation that I will discuss is falling in the category of parabolic partial differential equation, and it has several applications. For example, convection effect, diffusion transport interaction, option pricing, fluid flow, image processing, information processing, and many more. So I just as a basic definition, I would like to introduce the meaning of convection and diffusion. Before that, there is a term called mass transfer. Mass transfer. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay. Mass transfer. Is this PPT is also visible to all?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. So mass transfer simply stands for transport of any particle or mass from one point to another point. And the term convection stands for mass transfer, convection, mass transfer due to the bulk motion of fluid. For example, so a flow of water transports molecules that are dissolved in the water. Another example is flow of air. This airflow basically transports molecule, for example, oxygen and nitrogen that is present in the air, and it dilute carbon dioxide. Next, diffusion. Diffusion is also a mass transfer phenomena, but it causes the distribution of chemical species or any pollutant to become more uniform in a space as time moves or as time passes. So when molecules are moving but also constantly changing direction, there are two things are mixing here. Please try to understand. Moving and changing direction, diffusion occurs. Next, I will show a small video. There is a closed box. You can imagine it. Nowadays the winter season is there in the northern part of India, and you are sitting in a house and you are using a heating electric heater. So how the temperature changes inside a room, it can be visualized like this. So this is basically convection in a closed box is can be seen, can be analyzed like this. As the time passes, this is the convection. This is time movement. Time is going up. Time is passing. This is how heat convects. Next, I will show next I will present about the diffusion. This is the profile of diffusion. As the time moves, you see the change of color. This is the change of diffusion profile as the time passes. Next, a very simple example of diffusion of color in water. I will take 3 glasses of water. One is ice water, left side ice water. The middle one is tepid water, and the right one is the boiling water. And I am going to put a black color in it, and let us see what happens where the diffusion is very fast, where the diffusion is slow. All these are the some 8th class experiment, but it teaches us a lot. Yeah, this is the iced water, kept the some quantity of black color. This is tepid water, and here this is boiled water. You see the diffusion of color. Audience, can you tell me, dear, which one has the faster diffusion?
Boil water.
Definitely. Yeah, so the boiled one has a fast diffusion. Next, I will come to the simple equation which all of you are familiar at bachelor's level, that is heat equation, and we also call it diffusion equation. Heat which diffuses. Here it is del U by del T equal to gamma del 2U by del XX square. I am not going to teach you how this equation is formed. I'm just going to give you some idea what this equation tells us. Here, gamma is basically thermal diffusivity. In later on, I will use, instead of gamma, I will write sometimes epsilon. So this is basically just a material property, and it controls the rate at which heat diffuses. And U is a function of 2 variables, X and T. T is time, and X is a spatial variable. It can be in 1 dimension, it can be in 2, it can be in 3 dimensions. Here, for the simplicity, I took 1 space and 1 time. Time is always in 1. So this denotes temperature at a position X at time T. Now, just take a rod and I'm going to heat it at 2 locations. The location is specified here with a candle, 2 candles. Just imagine what happened. There are certain assumptions. One assumption is temperature is constant on the cross section, and it is insulated. Insulated because I assume that heat moves only left and right. So heat basically back and forth inside only. Now, here in this rod, I have heated at the candle location. 2 candles are here. Right? So the temperature is very high at this location and at this location. My mouse pointer is visible to you all?
No,
My
sir.
mouse pointer?
No, sir.
Okay. So the two red clots are basically the most heated places in this rod. Next, I'm just how from physics, how we are arriving at mathematics. So this rod is basically heated, and I am going to draw this high temperature mathematically on x-axis and u-axis. So very simple. At the red location, the temperature is high, so our graph basically goes like this, the first high, and again from the two red zone there is a black zone that shows the less temperature, so the curve goes down and it again goes up. So this is what from physics I have just drawn a mathematical graph. And you all know, if we have a graph, you can always have a function fx for which you can draw the graph. And if there is a graph, you can always construct a function fx by interpolation. So this is just from physics. This is a one-to-one relationship between physics and mathematics. So this graph basically gives you the temperature profile. From this temperature profile, you can easily say in which location temperature is more and in which location temperature is less. Next, now we'll analyze it through concavity and concave graph. So in this temperature profile, basically what is happening, the change in temperature is directly proportional to concavity of the temperature. Change in temperature is del u by del t, and concavity of temperature is del 2u by del x square. So this proportionality constant is basically gamma, and you can analyze the sign of gamma from here, from the graph. Arrow up, here it is arrow down, here arrow down, here arrow down, here it is arrow up, and so on. So this basically, these represents our concave up and concave down situation. So gamma is positive since del u by del t is positive. Temperature is rising here, left side, most left, the first arrow, up arrow. So this is when del 2u by del x square is greater than 0. Concave up. Next, I just analyze the mathematically. Suppose this is the rod and there is a location called x, and next location is at a distance x, which I have denoted by x plus h, and the left location is x minus h. So the average temperature near x, is temperature at left side, u at x plus h, right side, plus temperature towards the left, u at x minus h by 2. This is the average temperature near x. Now, simple logic, if temperature near x is larger, what will happen? This average minus u is certainly greater than 0. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And certainly, if average temperature near x is smaller, then what will happen? This average minus u is less than 0. So basically the sign is temperature goes up or down depends upon the sign of this quantity, average minus u. And what is this average minus u? It is basically del 2u by del x square equal to, this is 2 by h square is something, consider it as a constant, the same quantity what you have discussed here. So this is del 2u. This is how del 2u by del x equals second derivative. This is how our mathematics is coming in the picture of heat transfer. Heat transfer is not only the heat transfer, the one physics I am looking at. This is basically anything which moves from one place to another place can be modeled by the help of differential equation or partial differential equation. Now, so far I have got the two quantity del u by del t, del 2u by del x square. And how can we solve it mathematically? The heat equation, all of you are aware of, that solution of heat equation is known to us. When we move towards non-linearity, we have to develop some mechanism, because non-linear equations, analytical solution to the non-linear equation is not available to us. So we will develop some numerical or computational technique to treat them. There are some basic formula which you are all familiar with. I am just going to recall them in 2 minutes, next 2-3 minutes. Forward difference operator is nothing but u of x plus h minus ux. Backward difference operator is u of x minus u of x minus h. So the forward difference operator, when expanded by the Taylor series, is giving you this relation h du by dx plus order h square. Just divide both sides by h, you will get du by dx is 1 by h del forward difference u plus order h. So we can approximate the derivative du by dx equal to 1 by h forward difference u. Analytically, what you have done is you took limit h goes to 0, 1 by h into forward difference. This was the definition of your derivative, analytical definition. But approximately by using forward difference operator, we got this relationship. It had some error, and that error is basically governed by order h, because h term is appearing here. Exactly. Now, before moving further, I would like to say the same derivative can be obtained, the first derivative du by dx can be obtained by the backward difference operator also. That also gives you the same result. Right? The question is, forward difference operator is u of x plus h minus ux, and this forward difference operator is helpful in finding first derivative. The question is, how I have obtained this? How I have obtained this forward difference formula? You may have answered that you use Taylor series, but how come from the Taylor series you have derived this? But how this idea has come up? Well, I have written a Maple sheet to find it. Listen, just consider that solution basis is 1 comma x. Solution basis means you are finding derivative of a function. So the derivative is consists in the basis of 1 comma x. That can be represented by linear combination of 1 and x, suppose. And u0 is ux and u1 is u of x plus h. I am going to formulate a linear combination of u0 and u1. That is a into u1 plus b into u0. And this is the derivative, first derivative. d1 stands for first derivative. I am going to evaluate this linear combination t on this basis element 1 comma x. So when ux is 1, I will put this t in equation b0, and when ux is x, I am going to put this t in a relation b1. So b0 and b1 are two equations. In two unknowns a and b, when I have solved it, I have got a is 1 by h and b as minus 1 by h. Now, just put the value of 1 by h and b as minus 1 by h. You have got the last line, the last blue line as this equation in the linear combination. It is u of x plus h minus u of x by h. this is happening. This is your basically forward difference by h. So you have got a forward difference operator using the solution basis 1 comma x. The question is, the basis I have considered 1 comma x is a polynomial basis. Why I have considered basis 1 comma x? Can I consider some other basis instead of 1 comma x? Instead of polynomial basis 1 comma x, can I consider another basis function? Because the space generated by 1 comma x can be same as the space generated by some other two functions. Can we explore that two functions, audience?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the same space can be generated by 1 comma e raised to the power x. A space can be generated by 1 comma e raised to the power minus x, keeping dimension 2 fixed. Similarly, it can be generated by 1 comma sin x, 1 comma cos x, or sin x comma cos x. There are n number of facilities available to us to generate this difference operator instead of considering 1 comma x, and that has other advantages. In the next, I am going to consider the basis as 1 comma e raised to the power x and going to perform the same calculation what I did earlier, and here the value of a and b is coming out to be 1 by e raised to the power h minus 1, and you have seen the difference operator is u of x plus h minus u of x whole divided by eh minus 1. Now, for your verification point of view, if I take limit h goes to 0 in this expression, this is basically first derivative of u with respect to x. So it is not the forward difference operator which you learned at bachelor's level is the only operator that help you to calculate first derivative. There are other operators developed. There can be other operators that can be developed on another basis of your choice. Such type of operators are basically called non-standard operator. And this non-standard operator or non-standard scheme, such type of the difference scheme used on another basis is called non-standard scheme developed by Meekins, R.E. Meekins. R.E. Meekins is a professor at Atlanta. Same calculation is performed on the basis 1 comma sin x, and you have got again two equations b0 and b1. You calculate a and b like this, and you have got another forward difference operator like this. Now, I am coming back to the basic question. There are first order relationship formula u of x plus h minus ux by h, and second order u of x plus h minus u of x minus h by 2h. This formula is also giving you first derivative. Second formula is also giving you first derivative. The difference is the first one is order h and the second one is order h square. I kept it in a red color. This is h means first order equation, first order error, and this is second order. So we can use this formula to calculate derivative. I am just going to explain this first order and second order. What is the advantage of it when we calculate the derivative on a function sin x? Going to calculate derivative at a point x equal to 1. Now use this a simple two lines coding for h starts from h equal to 1 and go on reducing each time by 10 raised to the power minus 1. So each time h starts from 1, then 0.1, then 0.01, and so on. for the first formula, calculate the derivative and the difference of derivative and approximate derivative is enumerated in the last column. So here the derivative, the error is basically coming out to be e minus 1. Minus means 10, it is 4.72 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 1. So it is minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, and the last one is coming out to be 4.21 e raised to the power 10 raised to the power minus 5. This is the error. Next, I am going to calculate with the same step h using another second order method, and the error is coming out to be minus 2, minus 4, minus 6, minus 8, minus 10. You see just the last line of the first order method and the second order method. Here the error is coming out to be 4.21 into 10 raised to the power minus 5, and the last line is 9 into 10 raised to the power minus 10. So here in the second order method, the error is very less, meaning thereby exact and approximate is very close. So, but natural, if I ask which method is better, all of you can unanimously say that the second order method is much better. So we have a first order method, second order method, third order method, fourth order method. It is up to you how many orders method you are going to define, and you are capable to define. Capable means, is it possible to define 10th order method for a particular problem? That is again a big challenge. That is a R&D problem. So till now, I am telling you, third order, fourth order, sixth order methods are available. Sixth order methods are available to the linear problems, and fourth order methods are available to the non-linear problems, both for ordinary and partial differential equation. I am telling about the elliptic and parabolic case. The same is for hyperbolic also. Next, this I have just kept a code, just 2 lines of code here, printed u of x plus h minus ux by h, and absolute the difference of this approximate, and cos x is the exact derivative of. So you can also code them to visualize this. I will put this slide to Dr. Brajesh, and you can take this slide from the Dr. Brajesh for the easy understanding for the computer implementation.
Yes, sure, sir.
Yeah. Now, again coming back to the definition of derivative. What we know is du by dx is basically limit h goes to 0, u of x plus h minus ux by h. What is this h? This is nothing but x plus h minus x. Actually, here I am putting plus h. Instead of plus h, there is one other alternate that is called quantum derivative, q derivative. It is defined as limit q goes to 1, u of qx minus ux by qx minus x. So there, although I am not going to use this q derivative further, but whatever analysis I am going to do on this u of x x plus h can be done on quantum derivative, provided the domain does not consist 0. Please note that the first formula, if you take x equal to 0, it is u of h minus u of 0 by h. Very good. But here, if you take x is 0, it becomes u0 minus u0 by 0 minus 0. So it is ultimately coming out to be 0 by 0. So the quantum derivative is basically defined for x not equal to 0. This is the big difference. So this formula q derivative is applicable to all types of differential equation, provided the domain should not consist of 0. Either it should not consist of 0 or it should not be close to 0. Next, just as an illustrative purpose, I took ux is sine x and calculated limit q goes to 1, u of qx minus ux by q into x. It is cos x. For cos x, it is minus sine x. X raised to the power 4 as 4x cube. By the another formula of derivative, you have got the same result which you are familiar with. Now, again, coming back to the convection diffusion model. Just a small literature. Imagine a river flowing strongly and smoothly. Liquid pollution pours into the water at a certain point. So what I am going to do is, I'm just going to put a drop of black color in between this river. The question is, if you put this black color in this river, what shape does the pollution, this black color is your pollution, what shape does the pollution stain from form on the surface of river? Can you imagine? Basically, pollution diffuses slowly through the water. Pollution diffuses slowly. But what is dominant is movement of river, which convects the pollution downstream. Due to movement of water, the pollution goes downwards. So basically, convection carry the pollution, convection carry the pollution, and diffusion spread that. So more mathematically, when we are talking of one dimension, so convection carry the pollution along one dimensional curve and diffusion spread that curve. All right. Now, this is the physics. Now I am moving to the mathematics. How can we mathematically depict? Very simple. One dimension linear convection. One dimension linear convection basically says something about dynamics of fluid. The equation del u by del x plus 1 by c del u by del t equal to 0. Here, c is constant and u is a function of two variables x and t. And this equation represents propagation of initial wave with speed c without change of space. Without change of shape. Initially it is at x, u at x comma 0 is u naught x, and it has exact solution. All of you know by D'Alembert's that it is u naught x minus ct. Not a big deal. I am going to solve this linear equation by the help of mathematics, what I have discussed so far. I am going to use backward difference operator for del u by del x, ux minus t minus u of x minus t, and forward difference for the time derivative. Del u by del t is u of t plus k minus ut by k. Well, there is a logic, there is a strong logic why I am using backward difference for space and forward difference for time. For time, forward difference is fine because I will move, so I have to need t and t plus k. K is the step size in time direction. But for the space derivative del u by del x, why I have used backward here? Why not I can use forward, I can use backward. Here I have deliberately took backward difference. I will explain why I took backward later on. But for the time being, because both the formula are giving first derivative, so it is a simple discretization. Now I am going to denote this equation 1, del u by del x plus 1 by c del u by del t, I am going to discretize like this: uln plus 1 minus uln by k and plus 1 by h ul minus 1. So this when we solve this for uln plus 1, I am getting this equation, right? Now I am going to solve this linear equation on the domain 0 to 2. With the initial condition, u naught x is taken as a step function. It is 2 in 0.5 to 1 and 1 otherwise elsewhere. Please see, this line is the equation which I am going to implement. This is a simple Python coding. Python is the most easy and very much helpful for in case of differential equation. There are so many tools available inside. So here I have imported NumPy and this matplotlib for the plotting of all those things. This is nx is 25. Nx is basically here L I have taken earlier, number of points, spatial points. X points is 25. Dx is 2 by nx minus 1. So this is the step size. This is basically your h. Nt is 25. That is the number of time steps. And dt is the step size in time direction. And c, wave speed, is taken as 1. So to begin with, first of all, I have to use our initial condition. What is given to us? U is 2 in the range half to 1. So it is 0.5 by dx to 1 by dx plus 1. This basically gives us the range half to 1. It is assigned as 2 initial condition. Otherwise, it is 1 because I have already given u equal to numpy dot once nx. Means earlier the range vector is filled with 1, and in the range half to 1 it is assigned as 2. I am going to plot pyplot this u. So this plot simply gives you the initial condition, your step function, your hat function. Next, I am going to solve the equation for n in range 0 to nt, and for I in the range 1 to nx. Ui is ui minus c dt by dx ui minus 1. This is the equation which we have calculated by the discretization earlier. Just simple 3 lines coding will tell us so many things. Listen, the graph says here the circled line is basically our initial condition. This circled line is our initial condition. So initially the wave is like this. And as time moves, the shape of wave changes like this. As the time moves, you can have more smooth graph just by increasing the value of nx, that is value of uppercase L. So, right? Is there any? This is how, as time moves, how the wave is moving further. Next, same experiment I am going to put nx equal to 44. Same experiment, nx equal to 44. The graph looks like this. From this graph, can we say the wave is moving as per our initial condition, as per our initial wave? Because so many fluctuations towards the left and so many fluctuations towards the right. This is happening because of the value of nx you have chosen. So there is a mathematical restriction is appearing here, that is a stability condition. Whenever we are discussing partial differential equation, stability, partial or ordinary, stability is basically a very important issue that needs to be developed. And in this case, it is basically governed by current number, and it is Ck by h should be less than equal to sigma, meaning thereby the step size, time step size k should be related with h, spatial step size c and sigma. Now, we are moving to one dimension non-linear convection. It is del u by del t plus u del u by del x. In the earlier example, in the earlier definition, in the earlier equation, we have here c instead of u. So I have replaced this constant by u. Now just go on discretizing. There is a simple difference from previous and this one is, here it is coming out to be uln. Just go on, simplify it for n plus 1, uln plus 1, you have this equation. I kept domain and initial function exactly same as the previous one and implement it in a code. Here the only change in this line is ui equal to ui minus dt by dx ui. Here it is ui, again ui minus 1. Just experiment it. Almost similar thing is observed here. As the time moves, the wave moves like this. I am going to change the value of nx as 41. The behavior of graph is like this. This is how change. Further, I am going to change nx as 44. The change is abrupt. So here stability requirement is not enforced. That is why we have this kind of graph. So a stability condition must be enforced in solving this type of equation. Next. Earlier, I have discussed convection. Now I am going to discuss diffusion. Diffusion stands for del 2u by del x square. And here the second derivative is basically discretized by the second central difference and time by the forward difference. Just in this equation, replace it by this. When you solve it for uln plus 1, you get this equation. L is going from 1 to L minus 1. L minus 1. Now just write the code which evaluates this. Again, same domain, 0 to 2. A step function is also exactly same what I took earlier. I am just going to write a code for it. All the codes are exactly same except the for loop code is changed here. It is ui plus new dt dx square ui plus 1 minus 2 ui plus ui minus 1. Very simple. When execute, I got this one. The initial wave is the circled one. As the time moves, the value of u it changes like this. This I discussed about the linear diffusion. Now I am moving to the Burger's equation. In the previous equation, I am just going to add what I discussed earlier. It is u into del u by del x. So in a very easy manner from last 45 minutes, I have started from a simple differential del u by del t, del u by del x by heating a rod, and in 45 minutes I am reaching up to Burger's equation. Well, things are not easy. The only thing is, how can we visualize it? Burger's equation, by saying Burger's equation means I am basically talking about the Navier-Stokes equation. My main goal is to reach up to Navier-Stokes equation by doing this. Very simple. Here, Burger's equation, I would like to say basically uxt is the speed of fluid and epsilon is fluid viscosity. Just discretize it by the simple second difference for the second derivative, del u by del t by the forward time, and u del u by del x by the backward operator. Just straight away simplification, uln plus 1 is coming out to be this. In the previous code, I am just going to write this. Please note that all these methods, what I have discussed is the explicit one, n plus 1. The next time level value is dependent on previous time level only. All are explicit method. That is why coding seems very easy. I am going to solve this equation 4. On the domain 0 to 2 pi, boundary condition is periodic, u0 is equal to u2 pi, and initial condition you can calculate from the analytical solution given here, uxt. Well, the coding is a little bit, it seems little bit difficult, but it is not. I have used basically SymPy in it to calculate derivative of the function phi. And here the coding is here, this the for loop line, for loop for on I is this ui equal to ui minus ui dt by dx ui minus 1. This line is the important line which I have used. This remaining lines are just for plotting all those kind of things and finding derivative through SymPy. And u minus 1 is u0 because of u0 equal to u at 2 pi. So I have just coded this Burger's equation by 2 lines and obtained the graph, compared the graph of exact, that is analytical solution, and computational result. So there is a very small gap between exact and computational solution in the Burger's equation. I am coming back. In the very beginning, I told you I am going to consider backward in a space, backward difference operator in a space, and forward in time. The same thing can be done for the forward in a space and forward in time, but deliberately I have chosen backward. Can anybody say why it is so? Yeah, basically when we take forward difference operator, then what happens is there is a conditional stability appears. Yeah. But if you recall estimates scheme where both the time and space derivative is used as forward, that is giving you conditional stability. But if the same equation is discussed by the Lassonine scheme where the backward differentiation is used, then the Lassonine scheme is basically unconditionally stable. So that is somehow related to the that one. Coding is just 2-3 lines coding in each case, because I have everywhere used explicit scheme. That is, next time level value is purely depending on the previous time level value. So coding is easy, but as I told you, in many problems I have encountered with the stability requirement. So we have to move to the implicit scheme. Implicit scheme, in many cases it is unconditionally stable. For example, Crank-Nicolson. So it is unconditionally stable. But for that, coding is not that much easy as I have seen here. Not easy doesn't mean it is difficult. Just 2-3 more lines you have to add in it. Nowadays, thankfully, so many solvers are ready-made available in Python or in other languages. So many ready-made tools are available in Mathematica, in Maple, in MATLAB. We can use ready-made tools to solve it. In some 20 years back, if some maybe if some audience are senior here, they know some 20 years back we have a very difficulties for everything. We have to write the code, but now the days are not like this. We can use the ready-made tools to find the solution of system of equation, whether it is linear or non-linear. So we really do not have to bother about much. We do not have to much bother about the explicit or implicit, but stability convergence must be taken care of to proceed further. So far in the previous discussion, I have the first order in time and the second order in a space I have used. So this is basically the usual second order or first order scheme. The main question is, in this graph, you see there is a gap between blue line and orange line. The main question is, I am going to reduce this gap. To reduce this gap, you have to put more number of spatial points and more number of temporal points. This is one way. Another way is to increase the order of a scheme. So the next discussion is how to enhance the accuracy of a scheme so that the gap between blue line and orange line should be minimized. All right. Next, just consider time independent equation convection diffusion model. Linear convection diffusion model. Just for the understanding purpose, I have kept this equation time independent. You can also classify it as boundary value. So epsilon u double derivative x equal to a u derivative plus b u plus g. X is in the domain omega. And u is given at the left boundary a and right boundary b as uppercase A and uppercase B. What is this ux? Pollution concentration at a distance x. The first derivative is convection. Second derivative is diffusion. Epsilon is your diffusivity. A is velocity of pollution. And B is convection coefficient. B is basically multiple of U, and U is the concentration, pollution concentration. And G is basically source or sinks. Describe the creation or destruction of pollution. Now, for example, just burning methane gives you two things: destruction of methane and creation of carbon. So both source and sinks can be there in the model. Why mathematics is required in such type of equation? Listen, the epsilon, this diffusivity is very important. Here in the equation, epsilon u double derivative equal to u derivative minus 1, u0 is 0 and u1 is 0. What happened when epsilon is 0? We have u derivative is 1 and u0 is 0, u1 is 0, giving you no solution in C1. Please take it like when I am saying epsilon equal to 0 doesn't mean epsilon is equal to 0. Means epsilon is very, very close to 0. So what we can say, no solution means the behavior is abrupt. So when epsilon is very small, the solution of 3 is badly behaved. We call them singularly perturbed. So either it has this type of equation, not this one, or this type of equation, either they have no solution, or even if they have theoretical solution, that can be badly behaved. So we need some computational technique to analyze them. Solutions are not known to the nonlinear ODEs. Many nonlinear ODEs solutions are not known, or sometimes analytical solution behaves badly. What I am saying is, even the exact analytical solution is known, that may not be of our use. I am saying this. So somehow we have to depend on computational. We are bound to depend on computational technique or numerical technique. Now see this in this computational mechanism, what is this happening? Instead of considering the particular equation, I am going to take the non-linear stationary convection diffusion equation in a big category. Epsilon u double derivative equal to function of x, ux, and u derivative. The same way we can move to the time dependent problem also. And here boundary data is giving out to be this. The solution domain omega is divided into set of mesh points denoted by x0, x1 up to xl plus 1. And it is easily calculated using this relation. XL plus 1 is XL plus H. L is going from 0 to L. H is this. I will denote UL to be the approximate solution at the mesh point XL. Now, this is, I'm going to define two operators, AU and BU. Operator A and operator B is defined as, this is U of x plus H minus U of x minus H, and this is U of x plus H minus twice of U plus U of x minus H. The second one is easily seen. This is basically the central difference operator, second central difference operator. And this is nothing but the composite of first central difference operator and averaging operator. So, using these two operators, one operator served for the first derivative and another operator served for the second derivative, we can approximate the equation, and it is, the replacement is, the finite difference replacement of the equation is coming out to be this. This is certainly second order accurate and involves only 3 point. So this is basically 3-point non-linear difference scheme. This is a simple non-linear equation, and we can solve it by the Newton-Raphson method by using this boundary data U0 and UL plus 1. Now, the question is, this is second order. The previous equation, that this second last equation is, this is second order. I mean to say, I am willing to move this order up from order h square to, I will move to order h4. So for that, how can we make this high order scheme? Is to begin with, I will take a simple linear equation epsilon u double derivative equal to g and formulate a linear combination. Of course, at the point xl, this equation is written as this, ul double derivative equal to gl. Let us consider a linear combination. Add h square gl plus h alpha gl derivative plus h square beta gl double derivative. Here alpha and beta are parameters whose values are calculated in such a way that we can achieve high order scheme. Now, here g first derivative and g second derivative is calculated by the help of operator A and operator B, what I defined previously. And in place of g or g derivative, I will use, for g, I will use epsilon u double derivative. For g first derivative, it is epsilon u third derivative, and so on. Use this in this relation 3, you finally achieve this one. Here it is bu, means this is operator bu. Now, this equation 4 consists of HQ, H4, H6. So HQ term can be 0 if I take alpha is 0, and H4 term can be 0 if I take 12 beta minus 1 equal to 0. That is beta equal to 1 by 12. If I take this value of alpha and beta, then equation 4 basically reduced to epsilon bu. Bu is basically operator u and this relationship plus order h6. Order h6, please note that equation 3 I have started with by multiplying h square. So the actual order of the scheme is obtained by dividing throughout by h square. Because I have formulated the linear combination by h square, multiple of h square. It has no meaning. But I took h square multiplied just for my mathematical simplification. So, substituting this g double derivative, half h 1 by h square b gl plus order h square. This is the formula for this b, operator b when applied on g is giving you second derivative of g. So use this one in the previous relation, you finally get this scheme, equation 7. This is a fourth order scheme. And it uses minimum number of mesh points. This is very important line. Only 3 points are used in this relationship. 3 points are L minus 1, L and L plus 1. Our equation consists of second derivative. Please note that 3 is the minimum number of points required to calculate second derivative. 2 is the minimum number of points required to calculate first derivative. You can approximate first derivative at 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, no problem. But you need minimum 2 points to calculate first derivative, and that is u of x plus h minus u of x by h. So x plus h is next point and x is the previous point. So 2 is the minimum number of points required for first derivative. Similarly, 3 is the minimum number of points required to approximate second derivative. Well, I am saying you can use 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 number of points to approximate second derivative. But the scheme that uses minimum number of points are called compact. What is this compact? What is the advantage of compact? Because I am telling you, this is the second convection diffusion model consists of second order spatial derivatives. So if you use minimum number of points, finally it gives you the matrix with 3 diagonals only. Tridiagonal matrix, and solving tridiagonal matrix, both either in case of linear, it is directly a tridiagonal iteration matrix, or in case of nonlinear equation, it is tridiagonal Jacobian. In both the cases, analyzing tridiagonal matrix is easy and computationally efficient. At the same time, I would like to mention in this lecture that if you have a matrix that has 4 diagonal, we do not have any well-developed mathematical theory that can be used to analyze it. Analyze it means to tell you existence of inverse of a matrix. Please take a note. I am not talking of the matrix whose values are real number or complex number. I am talking of the matrix whose values are function and the values are not known to you previously. Then analyzing a matrix is a big challenge. Unfortunately, some 3-4 years back, I have seen, I do not remember the name of author, for the 3-point equation, they have developed some 5-band matrix, a matrix with 5 band, and they have established the convergence, discussed the stability theory. I could not understand. So meaning to say is, if you have a scheme on minimum number of points, we have a well theory, we have a well theorems, we have a well developed corollaries, results in functional analysis, real analysis, complex analysis that can be used to analyze the property of a matrix. But as we move to the higher number of band of a matrix, we are still lack in the theory for proving convergence or stability. Well, can I take some 1 minute of break before proceeding?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. Okay, coming back, the previous equation consists of epsilon u double derivative equal to gx. So second derivative was there only. So that was the diffusion term only. Now I am going to incorporate convection term, that is u first derivative. So for the first derivative, I have used 3 approximations, ul, l plus 1 and l minus 1. And these approximations are defined like this. And we can use this compact scheme by epsilon v ul equal to h square by 12 gl minus 1 plus 10 gl plus gl plus 1. So this is basically fourth order scheme for the non-linear convection diffusion equation. The same way we can extend it to the time dependent equation also. Here the A and B, here in the equation U cap double cap, the parameter A and B is appearing here. The value of B is minus A and A is minus 1 by 20 epsilon. So using this value, you can have the high order high resolution scheme for the general nonlinear equation. We can calculate this easily by the help of Maple programs. Just take x naught as x, x1 as x naught plus h, and at x2 by x naught minus h. U naught is basically evaluation of u at x naught, u1 is evaluation of u at x1, and u2 is evaluation of u at x2. Formulate a linear combination a u naught plus b u1 plus c u2 and calculate it for the first derivative. You can have the value a, b, c, and so I have defined two operators OPX and del x. This OPX is same thing, your operator A, and del x is your operator B. And use this in the Maple shoot, we can generate the difference scheme like this. Very easy. Finally, this is what the value of A and B I have told you. This is the scheme with the help of Maple shoot. Very easy. Likewise, we can verify whether our scheme is correct or not just by taking U0, G0, G1, G2 as at the point X, X1 and X2. This is coming out to be order H6. This is just the verification of the scheme. What we did is correct or not can be verified. Or sometimes you can say this is basically consistency. Is it consistent with the our method or not? Same way, these are the basically derivations of high order scheme. I'm just going to skip it. Coming to the numerical simulation, convection dominated equation is minus d2y by dx square. It is basically u. Please take it as u instead of y. I copied it from one of my published paper. There I have used the symbol y. That is why it is coming out to be. So here the exact solution, analytical solution, is known to us, and when we experiment it, we have got for lambda equal to, lambda is basically your 1 by epsilon. Lambda is your 1 by epsilon. So when we experiment and calculate L infinity error and L2 error, it is coming out to be like this, and the order is coming out to be 3.8, 3.9. It is almost 4. It is also almost 4. Similarly, for lambda equal to 1000, lambda equal to 1000 means I am decreasing the value of epsilon, means decreasing viscosity. It is also coming out to be like this. Error is -1, -3, -4, -5, and so on. This is what I started with Burger's equation. Now I am coming to the most general form that describe interaction between convection, diffusion, and reaction. This Burgers-Huxley is just the extension of Burgers, combination of basically Burgers and Huxley equation. It has application in propagation of signals in the nervous system, electricity, gas dynamics, and heat conduction. The Burgers-Huxley equation is mathematically represented by epsilon W double derivative plus WT plus alpha, this W raised to the power rho, and so on. It has boundary condition, and for epsilon equal to 1, the analytical solution is also available. For epsilon not equal to 1, the analytical solution is not known to us. So in that case, we have to depend on the numerical structure. Here, the W double derivative stands for dissipation. Alpha is advection coefficient. Re is basically 1 by epsilon, Reynolds number, and these are the parameters. And by taking different values of parameter alpha, rho, and beta, it gives you different equations. For alpha, rho equal to 1 and beta equal to 0, it is basically Burgers equation. For different, it is Huxley. Again, for different value, it is Burgers, Huxley, Jeldovic, Puig, Hague-Nagumo equation, and so on. These are basically, this comprise of a large class of equation in one mathematical formulation. There is one another Burgers-Fisher equation, and it has application in plasma physics, turbulence, traffic flow, gas dynamics. It has convective phenomena from Burgers equation and diffusion, transport, and reaction behavior from Fisher equation. Again, this equation is basically represented by 1.5, and by changing values of alpha, rho, and epsilon, you have there is one another equation, Fisher equation, Rayleigh-Bernard convection, and so on. There is one another equation, Nebel-Whitehead-Segal equation, is also falling in the category. Kolmogorov equation is one such equation, just by replacing beta to minus beta in 1.6. So these are the all wide class of physical application. That is basically now. Instead of discussing this, I'm coming to this mathematical simulation. So Burgers-Huxley equation is when kept at epsilon is 1, alpha is 1, and beta is 10. All this, we have this numerical solution is coming out to be, the error is coming out to be -3, -4, -5, -6. So this is all about the numerical simulation. So what, by saying, suppose at the number of grid point 64, the error is 1 in 0.71 -6. This means the difference between exact and approximate is very less. This is what in the very beginning I have told you in the Burgers equation, I want to decrease the gap between blue line and orange line. And that I have decreased by keeping it, the distance between them is going to be minus. From the eye, you cannot visualize this difference. Basically, both the lines overlap. That is why it is represented numerically. This is there is, with the time lag, actually I can implement whole of the things on the radial basis network, and so I'm stopping here. This is all about. Thank you very much. If there is any question, please, you are most welcome. I will